Me thinking of so I couldn't sleep last night, so I wound up creating a compilation of parenting scenes in The Sopranos,
Fantastic.
and I'll share with you
Right.
sometime. And the one that got me,
David Chase, by the
emotionally-
way, is the pioneer of this. David Chase took those kids very seriously. You cast an
Yeah.
actor that you hope can grow into the role.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, AJ's going to tries to kill himself. And you're sort of like, oh, it's a TV show. Well, that's a big problem for Tony. And you're like, no, that's a big problem. That is the end of their life.
Right.
They have failed in every way. And you're like, oh, of course. Take it seriously.
Well,
That's the
after
problem.
spending 2 days together, you've sort
Yeah.
of mind merged, because that's the scene that threw me over at whatever,
Oh.
3 a.m. Tony worrying about AJ.
Yeah.
And Tony is so ill-equipped, even though he's been in therapy for a long time, he's really ill-equipped to deal with AJ's problem. I found that, rather than unrelated to the second most important theme maybe in Mad Men, it's directly related.
Oh.
And I mean, just to quote from Don to Megan about fatherhood, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about our own fathers last night, and
Yeah.
I'll just say that my own father, his father was very rough, and he, therefore, like Don, never, ever, no matter how angry he was
Right.
with me, would ever lay a hand on me, and it was clearly a swerve,
conscious decision.
a swerve. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Don says to Megan, this is relevant to what you were just saying, I want to love them, but you want to love them, but you don't. The fact that you're faking that feeling makes you wonder if your own father had the same problem, right? And
Yeah.
this is, you are very invested in this.
This is from my
speech.
journal.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
And
a
your own-
journal note, and it has to do
without-
with my father. And
Right, exactly,
And
yeah.
and you just sort of like, just so you know, I mean, I've been married for 25 years. I love my children, but this was a taboo. When you are the husband and the baby comes in and there's breastfeeding involved and everything like that, it's a shock to you of how outside of this unit you are. And no matter how modern and how many diapers you change and how many pictures you take, you are useless and not part of it. And the baby doesn't even really doesn't respond to you the same way. I would go out of my way my wife and I would compete. And there's no competition with the breast. There is no competition. And I wasn't like insecure about it, but I do remember, I mean, I love the idea of walking in the morning and them standing up and being like, it's like having a new car every day. There's something amazing. But it wasn't, as many things are right about a Mad Men, not the expectation that I had, and not the image certainly that you're presented on TV and in film and entertainment and books, even right down to I remember the descriptions of in Tolstoy, when there's Bolkonsky. Who's the other character in War and Peace? Do you remember?
There's like 1,000.
No, who's the main guy? Pierre. Pierre. When Pierre has the baby and he's holding this little baby in his hand, and it's a foreign, and this is meant in another period, but it's a foreign object.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of that.
Yeah, but so in this great speech, important speech, Don is talking as a father, but you are the child.
Yeah.
Right? Then they get older, and you see them do something, and you feel that feeling you had been pretending to have, and it feels like your heart is going to explode. I mean, it seems to me that rather than being different from Tony's inability, his just sad inability quite to help AJ, and his total investment in that, which is not relevant to his social corruption to the core. It is a parent ill-equipped. Don is saying he's ill-equipped, and it's not you. You're in the child's subjectivity in creating that scene.
And I will put David Chase in there with Tolstoy as the influence. He's that good. He basically also added to this parental feeling the idea, and it's substantiated by Carmela, who is not a buddy in this situation, and people do turn on each other, who tells him that their son's mental illness is clearly inherited from Tony.
Right.
So, and add the fact, and I won't even make this ethnic or anything. This is just gender. That it's weakness. That mental illness is weakness. Is the first
And
part
Tony
of it.
understands that.
Tony understands
And
all of it.
hates himself
he
because of
hates
it.
himself. He's
Right.
it's
Okay, so the question is,
Yeah.
how much does Don hate himself? The child of a woman who said he's just a dick, name him Dick,
Right.
right? Whose own son is now named
And right, how
Gene.
does he know that story too? He was told that story. Don't forget that.
I'm sure many
this
times.
This woman, his adopted, let's say, mother, has told him that story. Everyone's like, well, how is he remembering his own birth? I'm like, they told him that
Over
origin
and
story.
over again.
Yes.
You're
Hey,
just a
guess
dick.
what? We found you in a garbage pail.
And you're nothing but a dick.
Yeah.
That's what you are.